G'day, my name's Joel Rasmussen from Fight News Australia, and today I'm talking to Mr. Reece McLaren. Reece, thank you very much for joining me today.
No, thank you very much for having us.
You're joining me all the way from beautiful and cold Colorado in the United
Oh my
States.
goodness.
How is the US?
Yeah, Denver, Colorado's fresh. She's snowing.
I was going to say, I saw on your Instagram the first time you're seeing snow. I know you're over there on business, but how is it? Is it a nice environment at least? Is it cool to see a new place?
Yeah, it's America's just so different, you know. It's just big. Everything's big. Then the scenery here is it's quite nice. It's where we are, like in Denver's quite flat, and you got kind of the Rockies out on the horizon sort of thing. It's quite scenic. It's very nice.
I saw you were doing some training earlier today before our interview. How is training in the new environment? Is the cold a bit more difficult to get going in?
You know what? I think jet lag is kicking our ass more than anything. Um, I'm starting to finally feel like maybe I may have shaken it, but we'll just see through the night and see how we wake up tomorrow.
How was the flight over?
It was long. I think it was 20 something hours of transit.
Ugh.
There's now a 16-hour difference, and we gained a day. So we left on Saturday and we arrived on Saturday. It's just bizarre.
Ugh. Did you at least get to sleep or anything on the plane, or is it just like sitting
Uh,
in the chair?
yeah, it was on and off, kind of broken sleep. I think we
Mm.
kind of when we flew, it was through the day. So it was by the time we got into Canada, it was like it would have been 12 or something at night for us, but it's 6 in the morning them. So I was like, it's hard to sleep.
If I'm not mistaken, is this your first time fighting in the US?
Yeah, this is yeah, one debut and myself as well. So pretty exciting.
How do you feel? Does it is something fighting in the US, was that something that was like almost like so far away when you got into the game? Or how do you feel about making your US debut?
Oh, it's so crazy. I was pinching myself the whole time, the whole trip. When we got to the gym just before, I'm just sort of just sitting there, it's like I can't believe I'm actually going to be fighting in the States. It's yeah, it's like a bucket list sort of thing, and I didn't really think it was gonna happen when I signed with one. I just thought that would be Asia based for the rest of the career, but it's like you want to always fight in Japan, and you always want to fight in the States, and fighting Japan's awesome, but fighting in the States is just something different.
Excellent. I'm glad that you get to have that opportunity on the first card. Talking about that, I've heard you refer to as one, you get almost like a family feeling from one. You've been signed to one since 2015. Uh, and now to be with them making their US debut, how does that feel to be this company that you've been a part of for more, like you've been with one for the majority of one's existence, and now you're with them making the debut? How does that feel?
Yeah, I'm so honored. You know, it's quite humbling as well to have been put on this card. The historic kind of presence that it's going to make, I think it's going to break a lot of records. I don't know if we know how big Amazon is. Amazon is an absolute monster here. Like it is everywhere. I think its viewing audience is just going to be outrageous. It's one's big opportunity to put themselves on the map, and as a fighter, it's going to be a huge opportunity to put ourselves on the map. So yeah, look, I've pretty much left no stone unturned, dotted every I, crossed every T to get this. So we're here, we're excited.
Um, Talking about that, I'm going to do some quick math here. Math was never my strong suit, but as I mentioned, signed to one in 2015. If I'm not mistaken, quick math, that's about 8 years in one at the moment. I hope I got that math correct. Um, how has one changed since you've been there?
It's hard to put a real like if COVID never happened, one was really skyrocketing. They had two production teams. Everything was just bubbly. It was crazy. Being backstage and you kind of starting to know everyone, and it was the same team or it'd be the other team. It was really, really, really taking off, and then kind of I think COVID put a stop on a lot of things. So that's definitely been a little bit misfortunate, but in another sense, I think they've moved on now, and the sky's the limit.
In those early days when you're there in one, I understand, especially in like the regional kind of Australian scene, it is not super uncommon for there to be multiple arts on the same card. There might be, you might be fighting and then there's a Muay Thai fight after you. But when you're like backstage at a one event and you're getting ready to go out there for an MMA fight and you look over and there's like someone warming up on the Thai pads and you look over there and then someone's doing like crazy BJJ sweeps and stuff. What's like the environment backstage like when there's so many arts and so many different types of martial artists?
Yeah, it's definitely a little different. Sometimes the corners we really can band together, and then other times it's kind of like a little standoffish. Uh, this That's unbelievable. Sometimes like you'll be there and then you're looking up and it's Yodson Clay kicking with his. Everyone stops just to watch that legendary left kick. So it's definitely had its moments where it's like, holy hell, the level here is just gone to another platform. Yeah, that's amazing. I think what they're doing is just leading the way, as always.
Uh, you mentioned how big Amazon can be, not as quite as big as the Amazon platform, but One has recently struck a deal with Channel 7 here in Australia. So now it's more definitely more accessible. I know personally, I'm watching way more One now that it's available on Channel 7. Has that helped with any recognition back here in Australia? I know in past you've talked about how you go through Southeast Asia and you go through Asia and people are like, "Oh my God, it's Reece McLaren." And then you come home and people are like, "I don't really know what you do." Has that helped at all? Is there any more recognition now that it's on Channel 7?
No. I think since I've signed, this is going to be my very first fight with that platform. So I'm only hoping that it's going to boost my whatever you want to call it, give me a little bit of a household name. But yeah, it's still like kind of shits me to this day. It's like, oh, you fight for one, okay. Oh, and then someone will come along who's like never done anything in the UFC, and it's like, oh, you fought in the UFC, right? Come on, man, give me my fucking juice, damn it.
You've been in this game, this MMA, professional mixed martial arts for over 10 years. And I was just wondering, how has over a decade in this sport been from when you started to now? How does it feel to have over 10 years in this game?
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. It's very humbling, to be honest, watching the level of the game on even the local scene. Like it's incredible now. It's you get amateurs that are training like pros, and MMA as a game. I think it's really, really, really got to take off in the next 5 years. I'm just hoping One can lead the way, and I could be a spark for someone to pick up the sport and do something with it.
If I'm not mistaken, you grew up on Christmas Island, correct?
Yeah, yep.
Now you saw some. If I'm getting it right, you saw some martial arts on some DVDs or some videos, and then started training once you made it to Queensland. Now, do you ever get a chance to kind of go back to Christmas Island, see any friends or family, and talk about how like, yeah, now I'm going around fighting at the top level professionally around the world?
Yeah, no, look, since we've left the island, I haven't had an opportunity or a chance to get back. It's quite expensive, and like there's no, yeah, and I just haven't really had the opportunity to get back, and then the career kind of sort of taken off, and then it's hard to justify time away to go back, sort of thing. Which is sad, but it just is what it is. I'm trying to make some name here, and I can't really lose time.
Of course, of course. Uh, I saw some videos on Instagram of you training with John Wayne Parr. And I was wondering how is that? How is getting being able to train with someone like John Wayne Parr, how does that affect your striking?
Oh my god, it's like a new birth in birth of life. You know what I mean? It's just amazing. It's a lot of good reminders, and that hasn't steered me wrong. And man, it's just amazing.
And then
Sorry
on the
about that. Yes. Hello.
hello. Uh, well, then on the now I'm very conscious of these questions. Of I understand if you give me an answer and you have to be like, um, I'll try not to ask anything too incriminating. Uh, on the flip side, I saw a video of him jumping up and pulling guard on you. I was wondering what's it like to grapple with the John Wayne Parr.
Yeah, it's so crazy. There's so much like Muay Thai grappling that just translates straight across to Jiu-Jitsu. You got the old man strength. He's strong.
Talking about that mixing of striking and grappling, in your career, you've got 9 submission victories. I feel like early on in your career, very heavily submission grappling and grappling focused. But then watching your last fight, there was a spinning back kick. There was a lot of successful striking in it. How does I know you're not the biggest fan of the word game plan, but how do you see this fight going with your mix of striking and your grappling?
Pain, lots of pain.
For you or for him?
Oh, for him, of course. Ain't no pain coming this way.
When your opponent has got more of a grappling background, it seems. Does that almost make you want to go, let me try and out grapple this person, or is it more, let's keep this on the feet so I can strike with him?
Nah, it's just the fight plays out the way the fight plays out, and if the takedown's there, then I'll take it, and if it's not there, then I'm not going to really try and force it like I have in the past. So my team, coaches, everyone fully back my full ability, and that's really, really, really freaking nice. So I'm confident anywhere and everywhere.
When you're stepping into the cage against someone who you've faced before in the past, when you've gone in there and you can understand a little bit more about the fighter, you have literally gone against this person before. How does that shape your mindset going into a rematch? There's kind of that lack of fear of the unknown.
Yeah, no, I felt him. I know what he brings to the table. I don't think he brings anything new. He hasn't looked like he's changed. If anything, when he fought me, I've fought the best Karat. Let's just put it that way. He hasn't looked anywhere near as good since. And then when you look at myself, it's chalk and cheese. Honestly, if he thinks my kicks are the same, he's going to be really awoken.
You yourself currently ranked 4 in the flyweight division, taking on ranked 2 and a former champion. I hate when talking to a fighter, I hate to ask about the future when there's a fighter standing right in front of them. But this next fight after this, is that a title fight?
It's title. This fight in my head, in everyone's head, is a title eliminator, and the winner will be fighting for gold next. It's the only way this can go.
Is there a preference between DJ and Mariah's? Like, I know you've got history with Mariah's, but do you have a preference?
I don't know. I honestly don't have a preference, but if I had to pick, I was meant to fight Mariah's back in 2018, so that's a fight I really want.
The one is making its US debut. You go out there and you win. You set up that title fight. Do we see one championship make its way to Australia, do you think? Do we think we could see you headlining a card fighting for the title in Australia?
Oh, that'd be amazing. I can definitely see it. I think there's a big enough audience in Australia and enough MMA fans to make that happen.
I know I'd absolutely love that personally.
The show that one put on, you really need to watch the production and then watch a UFC show and just see how much better and entertaining a one show is. It's something different.
I find that super interesting with if we're going to talk about the UFC, the viral entrances are the more like theatric, the crazy ones more or less, you know what I mean? Izzy walking out to, the Undertaker's theme, that gets shared a lot. When
Yeah, it would
in
have been
one,
boring as hell if you're at the stadium.
well, at one, a lot of the entrances are the more theatrical ones. It's like consistently everyone shows up and it is really like a show.
They put a show on. They put up our names on big billboards and lights and screens. UFC aren't doing that. They just walk out, gamble, and go home.
You're fighting on the inaugural one US card, and I was wondering, have they told you anything about like a change in rule set compared to fighting in like Southeast Asia and stuff? Because I'm assuming it's under different commissions, so I was wondering, is there a different change in the rules or anything?
No, no. So they're able to keep their rule set. That's why it's happening here in Denver. It's just one of the commissions that allows for. I can't remember exactly what the rule set's called, but it's not the normal one. It's their special universal or whatever. It's called something. I can't remember what it's called, but it's like knees to the head of a ground opponent and such.
Mm. You're fighting on a Friday, May 5th over there in the States, back home in Australia. It is Saturday morning on the 6th. Thank you very much for your time. I greatly appreciate it. Especially, I know there's no such thing as a public holiday when you're in camp, but still, on a public holiday, I do appreciate the time. Good luck to you and your team.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having us.